The Supreme Court on March 13th referred to a 5-judge constitution bench the petition seeking legal recognition to same-sex marriages. Utkarsh and Kotia are praying this will be the happily ever after to their decade-long love story. The couple who directly petitioned the Supreme Court met at Hansraj College, Delhi University in 2008 as 2 young undergrads. A romance bloomed and they have been together since.
Kotia and I met at Hansraj College at the University of Delhi. He was auditioning for the Debating Society at the time. I was the president of the Debating Society, and that's how we met for the first time. And we soon discovered that we have a lot of common interests and similarities. We were both a bit nerdy about politics, current affairs. We were big news junkies. We knew the names of all the major journalists and in public intellectuals, and that's the kind of stuff we bonded over. And we had late night chats, as you often do in university, over landline phones back in the day. And a romance bloomed, and that's how we fell in love, and soon realized that this was something quite special, quite magical.
I think from very early days in our relationship, we did actually envision a future together. And I think it was in part because for us, this was a lot more than a college romance. We'd been dealing with similar struggles in school. This relationship was also about coming out to each other for the first time, talking about a bunch of issues that we hadn't been able to discuss with anyone before. And so I think this relationship really opened up this new, beautiful world that we really thought we'd never have access to before. So it was very dear to us. We thought we were very lucky that we found each other.
It took us a while to come to terms with it because, back in the day, it was quite a difficult time to be queer. This is 2008. There was a lot of phobia. There was a lot of hate. It was still a criminal offense. So we were trying to come to terms with what was going on and who we were, but soon realized that we were queer and that this was a very special relationship, and that's how we fell in love.
So we always thought that this really would be forever. One thing that I guess we hadn't envisioned is how open we would be about this. And I think India was a very different place at that time. We always thought we'd had to trade off our professional aspirations with our personal aspirations. And we weren't really sure how this would play out, how secretive we'd have to be, etc.
We were following how things were changing in society and popular culture, and were noticing how the views of our family members were also changing. So I took my time and I came out to my mother in, I think, 2016, to my dad in 2018. And I think by that time things had changed, and they were very accepting, very supportive, a bit surprised, and they thought that we were just very close friends. But I think that actually made it easier for them. I wasn't telling them that, look, I'm bringing some random guy home. They were like, oh, it's Kotia, someone who they had seen me with for almost, 6-7 years. Who they were very fond of him. They like him more than they like me, for sure. So it was mostly supportive, very happy. And we were very lucky that we got that kind of an environment for our coming out moments with our families.
Utkarsh and I didn't really have an individual coming out. We met fairly early in life. I was 18, he was 20, this was college. And before this, we hadn't really spoken to anyone about how we might be queer. So I think it was really through this relationship in college that we came out to each other first. And I think that was very special because coming out can be a scary time. It can be an uncertain time. But the fact that we'd gone through, similar struggles in school, that we were sort of doing this together, and the fact that we had each other's company as comfort, probably made it the best kind of coming out I could have asked for.
A lot of people are really worried about what this will mean for the structure of family, and they think that queer people, for some reason, can't be good parents and shouldn't be allowed to have children, and that this is the gateway to that. And this idea that your sexual orientation and your gender identity in some ways can be a determinant for what kind of parents you're going to be. I find that really hurtful, especially because I really want to be a dad. And I'm told I have a very dad personality. And this idea that for some reason kids should not be near queer people, and you won't be good parents or the bad influence. I just find that deeply disturbing and unfortunate. But I'm sure that this just stems mostly from ignorance, and as people see more and more queer families with kids and realize that they're just the same as any other families, as happy, as complicated, as messy as any other family. Hopefully, some of these offensive arguments will see like a sunset clause to them.
I think there's many offensive arguments that I probably can't repeat on camera, particularly from social media. But I think one sort of recurrent theme in these arguments, which I find particularly offensive and maybe irritating, is that this is somehow not Indian, and also that this is some modern concept that we're importing from the West, or from somewhere else. And I think this is problematic at various levels. I mean, firstly, I think it's factually incorrect to even say that India has not had homosexuality, that this hasn't been something that's been around for hundreds and thousands of years at various stages in India's history. But I think more largely because it somehow pegs what should be right or wrong objectively based on, say, the Constitution of India today, on something which was the norm hundreds and thousands of years ago. And I just find that problematic. I don't think that makes sense. Even if this wasn't a common thing in the India of 1,000 years ago, how does it matter for what should be a constitutional right of citizens of India today? That's something that bothers and irritates me a little bit.
In personal terms and legal terms, personally, I think we feel that we are not as fragile or as vulnerable as we used to be when we were much younger. We are more confident, we are in more secure places in our lives, and therefore, we're very privileged and can take this step without being hurt in very big ways. So I think personally, we just felt like we were ready. And legally, because I'm also a lawyer, I'm appearing in this case in my own petition. I've been noticing the changes in the jurisprudence. First, transgender was identified as a separate gender in the law. Then we had privacy identified as a fundamental right in the Constitution. I appeared in that case. Homosexuality was decriminalized. That it just felt like the natural next step should be giving the same equal civil rights that straight people get in Indian society. So therefore, for both personal and legal reasons, this just felt like the right next step to take the battle for queer rights forward.
And so now that we've filed this petition, and I think we're finally comfortable and confident about people knowing about us, whether that's family, friends, or colleague, I think that makes me feel really happy.
If this goes through, it will be an incredible day. I think it'll be very emotional for us because, as kids growing up, we just never thought this would have been possible in our lifetimes in our country. So I suspect more than a celebration, it's just going to be a very profound and emotional moment for us. And I think we're probably going to spend it with our just very close friends and family. And after that, I feel like I don't have a say in this matter anymore. It sounds like a lot of people will want a wedding. And hopefully, therefore, if this is legalized, we'd like to have, a wedding like people do and celebrate this relationship, which has been just in secrecy and hiding for so long, finally with our friends and loved ones. So looking forward to that if things go well.
I think this is one of those rare litigations where you kind of have a predefined celebration, which is a wedding, because this is a marriage litigation after all. But I think in all seriousness, we would love to have a wedding if and when we have a favorable outcome from the Honorable Supreme Court of India. We'd love to get together with friends and family, and have our version of a big fat Indian wedding.